wanted to fight me. It was, I tell you what, I was more scared of that than any daggone spirit.
You know, one house I lived in probably 35 years ago, in the middle of the night, one night, I started hearing this weird noise, and it was going around the whole room, you know, and we had a couple cats, but they never could seem to catch the mice. But we had like 2 or 3 mice in there. I had to have the exterminators come out and, you know, get them. But I tell you, it was like you could hear them going from one dresser to the next dresser to who knows where. And I tell you, under the bed, you know, up by your headboard, and you'd be sleeping at night, and all of a sudden you hear that little chomping and, you know, running around. I tell you, it's scary, even if it's a little mouse.
Yeah, you know, that's what this family, they thought they had ghosts or something going on. It was a bunch of rats that got in their walls. I was on another, about the same year, maybe a couple years later, same kind of thing, only it was squirrels. This time squirrels had all kind of nested in these poor people's house, and they were making all kind of racket, you know, and it was scaring them. But it seemed like they were more active at night. You know, they trying to go to sleep. They were gathering nuts and making all kind of fuss, and that's all it was, you know. And then they had called exterminator.
Yeah, this place, it was so bad. I remember it wasn't one we owned. We rented it. And we were only in there for the first couple of weeks when all this was going on. I remember I was going to go to the stove and cook something in a pan. And I just turned the burner on, and it didn't even have a chance to get hot. And what did I see? I see a mouse stick its head out around the coils of the heating element and then go back down. I'm going, oh, no, this is it.
Oh, boy, you don't want to use that stove then, did you?
No. It just freaked me out. I mean, you know, why didn't it stick its head out there after the burner was glowing?
You should look at the positive of that and say, thank you for showing yourself. I won't use this stove. He could have been in there and used the stove. Then you know, and ate something. Then he's seen his head and be like, oh, maybe his cousin's on my food or something, you know.
And then about a year later, in the same place, my daughter had hamsters. And all of a sudden, they got out. And she had like about 4 or 5 or 6 of them, I can't remember. And, you know, we were trying to find the hamsters. I mean, you couldn't find them, no matter how hard you look. And then all of a sudden, we had hamsters over there. We had hamsters over there. They were coming out from under the woodwork. I mean, they were in the walls. They were underneath the furniture, in the, you know, china cabinet, yeah, oh God, it was horrible to get rid of them.
Yeah, I tell you, you've got some wild hamsters. They're like, their cousins are, you know, mice, rats, whatever. I mean, you know how fast they breed. Boy, you got them loose. And here's the thing, they may become feral. So, yeah, that could be a nuisance. I can see how that could happen.
Yeah, you start out with 2, and then within about a month, you have 8. And then all of a sudden it's 16, and then it's 32. And then they take over the house.
Yeah, they do, and then you'll be moving out, looking for a house of your own again.
You know what we need to do is get some people on it have had ghost experiences. You know, we've been concentrating so much lately on abductions and UFOs and conspiracies, but we've been forgetting about getting people on about ghosts.
Don't you have somebody tonight later on?
Well, we got a paranormal group. I don't know what they're going to be talking about. They're going to be talking naturally about ghost hunting, but I'm talking about somebody that has been living in a house that is infected with ghosts.
Oh, I know a few of those. I could hook you up with some people there.
Well, I'm not talking about the ones that are in the hospital.
Oh, okay.
You know, I'm talking serious cases of people being, possessed or something is going on strange, you know, knocking on the walls, you know, things going flying through the kitchen, you know, like the knives going right past you, things like that. That's what we need.
Yeah, I was on about 4 cases last year that, believe me, they probably, the episodes maybe even be on TV, I don't know, but I was on these cases, and these people, trust me, I seen the stuff there. They can tell you. They'll tell you. They live with it. Some of them still battle it. It's a process, you know. It's tough to get rid of some of that stuff, especially if it's on the land. Oh, it's a toughie.
Now, how about the people who really don't believe in ghosts? Do they actually have problems with ghosts? I mean, if you're totally in denial of the paranormal, period. Okay, nothing in the paranormal is real. It's all fake. Ghosts are fake, UFOs are fake, and all that stuff. Do they still have encounters of ghostly things at their house? Or does it take somebody who has to be open-minded to have it happen?
Let me put it to you like this, Mr. Gary.
Okay.
Just because you don't believe in something does not make you exempt. You just maybe you're it hasn't happened to you. God bless you. You say amen to that. But I'm going to tell you what, I have come across many people who didn't believe in nothing. And then, they moved into place or they went somewhere and picked up an attachment, or somebody brought something in their house, or they brought something in bought something and something was attached to it, and they became full-fledged believers real quick, especially when you can't explain things. And sometimes that's what it takes. Some people are so tunnel vision, they won't believe nothing until it flat out slaps them in the face. And unfortunately, sometimes by that time it's too late. You're done past the point of no return. But it doesn't. I don't know what to say other than I've seen both sides of this with people, and a lot of times it takes it to slap them in the face for them to believe it.
Now, has there been any cases where these poltergeists or ghostly creatures actually kill people?
Yeah. I mean, you can't really. It's tough to prove it, but it sure. Well, let me give you a scenario. Here's a scenario. And this is very easy to picture. And I tell people this all the time. They say, "Well, spirits can't kill people, whatnot, or whatever." Okay, say you're in a house. You got an evil spirit in there that is really out to get you. It's going to wait till you're real tired. You're going to go to sleep. When you're asleep, it's going to go down and blow out your pilot light. So now, when you wake up, you're going to turn on the lights. You can blow yourself up. That's just one little scenario. Okay, think about that. That's just one. Okay, they could do all kind of things if they really wanted to. So it's a scary thought.
Well, I mean, literally, like, people say that they got scratches from, ghosts and all this stuff, or bruises. I mean, has there been any attacks where somebody got tore up from one of these? Had their head tore off or arms tore off. If they can give scratches, okay, or bruises to somebody, then why can't they just literally tear somebody apart in pieces?
Well, usually something that is way above a spirit or a ghost. That's usually something way more non-human, way more evil. I call it real evil incarnate. I've come across much of that in my lifetime. You don't want to come across that. I've been scratched, bitten, pushed. Matter of fact, when I was 3 years old, I had an evil spirit living in a house that we lived in. It pushed me down the steps at 3 years old and busted out my front 2 teeth. So, yeah, and my mom knew it, too. She didn't say it, but she told me years back. She just told me last year. I knew she had to see that spirit. He was an evil old man, man. He pushed me down the steps. So there's one scenario. They could push you down the steps, you break your neck. There's another one. I've seen people. I've been on cases where these things there's stuff out there that's way more above spirits, evil spirits. It's just they can scratch you, bite you. People have been raped. It's awful. Some of the things that these things can do.
Well, I know that, like I was mentioning one night, that some of these people have went out and commit horrible crimes. For example, murder and all this stuff. Could some of these people have been possessed and they didn't even have any control of their thoughts or their body, that this evil spirit, poltergeist or whatever, took control of their body and their mind and made them go out and maybe kill their family or kill, somebody or do some horrible crime. And then they go to prison for the rest of their life because, the courts don't believe, I hate to say it, they don't believe in their paranormal. So if you try to make a defense that, hey, this guy had no control of his thoughts because he was possessed at the time, even if the church came and did whatever they did, I mean, you're going to go to prison no matter what.
Yeah, you're right. And, this scenario has happened a few times throughout history. It's tough to prove. And like you said, the courts aren't going to buy it. And I can give you some scenarios, like the son of Sam. He claimed that, he was possessed and stuff. The only problem with him was he was already kind of a bad person doing some bad things to begin with. You know, he wasn't like a church-going Miss Innocent or Mr. Innocent to begin with. So, you know, that's the hard part. And then you've got mental illness. It's very hard to discern between mental illness and being possessed. And then sometimes they go hand in hand. So it's a very blurred gray area.
Now, if somebody did have a mental issue, are they more apt to be possessed by one of these entities?
Well, it's a very good question, and I think so, because you're kind of more open to it. Your defenses are kind of down. You're not at 100%, so it's very plausible. And I've seen it. It kind of feeds. It's like a vicious circle. It kind of feeds into each other, one to the other, and back, and vice versa. So it's tough, and it's tough to discern what caused what, which one, or the other way around.
It's scary. I mean, one of these days, I'm hoping that the court system will take things as we move more into technology, you know, in the paranormal. Again, the courts right now, you know, don't believe, and the court system does not believe in the paranormal of any form, shape, or anything. So, I mean, if you try to build up a case or anything, even with witnesses around, it's not going to do you any good.
No, it's not. It sure isn't, and I don't see that changing any time in the near future. To be honest with you, I just don't. It's just the way it is. You know, it's tough, and the other tough part is, even if you had some paranormal problems, it's hard to find somebody to help you that's legit, somebody that's not just in it for the thrills themselves. Because, you know, the one case I helped a lady that all these things you mentioned, believe me, she'd come on and tell you all this stuff. It's crazy stuff she went through. She had 4 teams over a 4-year period and a priest come in it. And all they did was make it worse. They made it worse because they kind of went in, poked the bear with a stick, and then left. And then they're left to deal with it. And now, you know, that evil that was there is really mad at the homeowner because they brought somebody in to poke them and start them up even worse instead of helping them.
Oh, yeah. That's why you got to be careful. If you invite somebody in, like from a paranormal group, make sure you check them out first. You certainly don't want a new group that's just now forming and having them come out and do, you know, whatever they do at a house to help prove to you you do or you don't have something going on, because they could really stir things up.
It could. And there's a lot out there that if people could see and feel what I see and feel, they might not ever leave the home. There's just a lot going on. So my advice is, listen, leave the paranormal alone. Be thankful that you don't have to deal with it. It's not at your house. Don't go seeking it. For the love of God, leave it alone.
Oh, yeah. Well, anyway, we're going to be going on break. We'll be back in about 2.5, 3 minutes. A great song from a friend of mine, Earl Grey. He's a UFO, by the way, investigator with MUFON. And we'll be back in about 2.5 minutes.
Sun diving for a dream, scintillas in the stream, hoping for what's true. I'm trawling for honor in this shallow pool. Borealis starlit crown arches over the Puget Sound. Berenice's hair drapes the horizon to full air. Where is my lucky star tonight? Seventh sister